You are listening to the Daily Homily for Magdala in the Holy Land.
Jesus said to his disciples, "As the Father loves me, so I also love you. Remain in my love. If you keep my commandments, you will remain in my love, just as I have kept my Father's commandments and remain in his love. I have told you this so that my joy might be in you, and your joy might be complete. This is my commandment: love one another as I love you. No one has greater love than this, to lay down one's life for one's friends. You are my friends if you do what I command you. I no longer call you slaves, because a slave does not know what his master is doing. I have called you friends, because I have told you everything I have heard from my Father. It was not you who chose me, but I chose you, and appointed you to go and bear fruit that will remain, so that whatever you ask the Father in my name he may give you. This I command you: love one another." The Gospel of the Lord.
Praise to you, Lord Jesus Christ.
We have these special readings, obviously, because of the feast day of St. Matthias. And you love these readings, particularly now in the recent experience of the election of Pope Leo. We see many parallels, thankfully, between his election and the election of Matthias as a successor of Judas. The whole process of the election, where there's a human element and God working through it, where those who are involved are deeply engaged in prayer. And it's beautiful. I don't know if you have listened to any of the cardinals' testimonies, at least the ones I stumbled upon. I didn't really go out looking for them, but I indulged, which I normally don't do much, with a feed that's suggested by the social media, but I've listened to the testimonies of, I'm not sure, less than 10, but quite a few of the cardinals, and also people that I knew or know of or know their profile. And their explanation of what happened was really moving, in the sense that they experienced it like a retreat, like a moment of prayer, that it was completely counter to the atmosphere that was communicated in the media, in the worldly expectation in the days prior to the conclave, and also with that movie that reached quite some repute about how a conclave should look. And what we experienced was really something very similar to the Acts of the Apostles. And that's very beautiful to think that 2,000 years later, the Lord allows us to feel, to know, to sense, to touch, to put our hands on this experience that He's leading the church. And that's very consoling. It's really very beautiful. I was thrilled, particularly with the speed of the election, because it meant that they weren't going to be wrangling for a long time. There wasn't wrangling. They obviously they had a lot of work done beforehand in all the plenary congregations of the cardinals a few weeks before the conclave, but the whole process seems to have been very blessed. And we obviously need to continue praying for Pope Leo, but it's interesting to see this process of electing Matthias. There's another very interesting thing that coincided actually in both Pope Leo and in Matthias' election. And it is, they wanted somebody who was a witness to the life of Jesus and his resurrection. And that was something that stood out in the statements that quite a few people made and analysts made about the conclave now, that the primary duty of the church is to give witness to Jesus risen from the dead, which is the first message that Mary Magdalene received from the tomb. And this is the definitive message, that Jesus is risen from the dead, that his whole life of self-giving wasn't wasted. And that's a very big message for all of us. We can read the gospel from two angles. One is we are beneficiaries of Jesus' love. I no longer call you servants. If you do what I command you, you are my friends. This is how you live the friendship. You don't need to do what you command for me to love you. I love you anyway. But I don't call you a servant, I call you a friend. If you want to live friends, the first thing to do is do the basic commandments. Don't be going around killing people, don't tell lies, don't cheat, don't be aggressive to other people. That's the beginning only of a path. Because what happens with friends, it's amazing how friends impact each other, even unconsciously, because friends spend a lot of time together. So if you're really taking up Jesus' friendship offer, then you want to spend a lot of time with them. Not necessarily time on your knees, but time in your heart. While you're working, while you're driving, Jesus with you. When you're dealing with issues and problems in the family, with children, with parents, with colleagues, with siblings, that Jesus with you. You are his friend, he's your friend. To live that friendship, is that how you live your spiritual life? To live in this friendship. And then to be a witness of the resurrection. And so if we're always going around with Calvary, that's part of humanity. But what's our message in the midst of Calvary is a message of resurrection. That was a very powerful thing in the Passion of the Christ movie with Mel Gibson, in the encounter of the crucified Jesus being crucified on his path to Calvary, and before his crucifixion, meeting Mary. And the artists have that artistic freedom, so they put the thing together. And he took that line from the book of Revelation and put it in Jesus' mouth, speaking to his mother. I thought it was quite creative and very on target. And he said to her, "Behold, I make all things new." And so the old world is the world that's being crucified, and the resurrection is the new world. And we are people of hope. It's the year of hope. And so we're living in the joy of the resurrection, in the victory of the resurrection. And this is a great thing. So the one angle is to see all the benefit that we have from Jesus, and the other one is to realize that we are Jesus for the world. So then laying down our life for others. Jesus said this, the best friendship shows itself in the willingness to lay down their life. No one has greater love than this, than to lay down one's life for one's friends. And so this is what parents do for their children. And imagine parents that live that in the mystery of Christ, laying down their lives for their children, is truly a Christ-like gift. It's really amazing. When we have that line from Jesus, don't come to the altar, and if you remember somebody that has something against you, go and reconcile and continue then afterwards with your liturgy, with your worship. This is also a great calling to the culture of reconciliation, to be donors of goodness, of kindness, of love. This is the essence. God is love. And we're made in his image and likeness. And that we are the ones then that are bringing that to people who don't have the experience of God, who don't know Jesus as friend, who haven't got this relationship with him. So there's a lot for us to ponder and to assimilate in these readings in our lives. Really powerful stuff that the Lord will give him a seat with the leaders of his people. This is so beautiful. We're inside with God.
Thank you for joining us today. If you want to learn more about Magdala, follow us on YouTube and on Facebook.